Sure, absolutely.
Hi, my name is Bob Hart. Probably nobody here knows me. I wrote a book called Citizen Slave. I want to ask you guys one thing. Is there anybody in here that can write something down on a piece of paper and make your neighbor do it? Well, that's the law. That's due process. Due process works like this. If a plaintiff is making a claim against a defendant, that defendant has the right to tell that plaintiff to prove it. And if he can't prove it, according to the laws of due process and the rule of law, the plaintiff has to quit. That's just the way it is. That's due process. Now, if we've got people out there that took over a building, we don't really know what's going on. We don't even know if the federal government has the right to claim to own that building. So we really don't know. And has anybody been damaged yet? Because that is the law. What a crime is an actual damage, a danger, or a nuisance. And that is the only thing that I've ever been able to figure out, the definition of a crime. Now, I want to tell you guys something that I'll bet you not 1% of the people in this room know. Nobody is subject to positive law. That means statute. Those statutes are written for government as a management guide. And they have bullshitted everybody into thinking that if they pass a legislative law that somehow it pertains to the rights of the people. And that is a lie. And the reason it came out is because nobody contests it. And if you don't contest it according to the rules of common law, you have joined. You have admitted that they have a right to force whatever they want to force on you. And that's what's going on here. The federal government is pushing their weight around, and nobody says, prove to me you have a right to force this obligation on me. I don't care whether it's income tax, property tax, a traffic ticket, where there was no damage. I've studied this thing for 20 years, and I've been trying to get this information out to the public. And I can tell you one thing. I'm going to close out with this. If everybody understood that their rights are not subject to any form of legislation, that all legislation is only meant to manage government and relating consenting commerce, such as corporations or anything that joins with government, and it has nothing to do with the private rights of the people. If everybody understood that positive law has no effect over their private rights, this thing would end tomorrow. But you want to know what's going to happen? Just like the last arraignment hearing on a traffic ticket I went to, I watched almost 100 people volunteer their rights away, and nobody knew they did it. And guess what? They did it according to common law. They tacitly submitted. They tacitly admitted. So that's all I want to say is these guys out here that took over control of a building, as far as what we know, we don't know if he's created any damage. We don't know if they're not just taking back property of the people that was rightfully theirs, and the federal government says, no, the king said so. That's all I got to say.
Well, it's hard to follow that. So of all the people here in Harney County, Burns, or close surrounding areas, who's still here? And who would be interested in coming together with the safety committee and taking this further? Who would be interested in doing that? Come on, you guys got to get involved. Okay? Those that are interested, let's meet back here, and we'll get you with the Oregon guys, safety committee here, and this gentleman over here. Okay? Any other questions at all?
Yes, hold on one second.
Yeah, Mr. Bundy. Okay, let me just tell the community here what's happening here. I have Mr. Cliven Bundy, and I said I would confirm with him whether or not he made that statement. And in fact, he had not spoken to the Oregon Public Broadcasting. Now, we're also going to let you hear directly from him. Okay? So, Mr. Bundy, you're on speakerphone with the microphone. Everyone will hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Pete. This is part of
little bit of that. I do not know what's really going on, except my son did call me and said that they had sort of took refuge in a building, that they were okay. And I want to tell you, I have not made no statement to any press
Okay,
on the issue at all. I have not made a statement.
okay.
And I have talked to my son Hammond. He said they're okay and that they all want to make a stand.
Okay, and Mr. Bundy, you support taking a stand with the community if it's necessary in the proper context, of course, but you don't have enough information as to what's going on here, so you didn't make a statement to the Oregon Public Broadcast.
I did not make a statement.
Okay.
I will make a statement that I am for state sovereignty. I am tired of the federal government overreaching, that they do not have jurisdiction and authority over this issue in that county of Oregon. I will say that much. They do not have jurisdiction.
Okay,
County Sheriff and county government does have jurisdiction. I want to support them and tell them that I am happy to support them. It defends liberty, the freedom, and the agency of each individual. And I'm for that type of government.
fantastic, Mr. Bundy, thank you very much, and you know what, if you can hear it, everyone, round of applause for Mr. Biden Bundy. Mr. Bundy, can you hear us? You want to support the community, you got the community. Okay, fantastic.
The brief or the habeas corpus, and I mentioned something earlier. I said I'm not a lawyer, but I did have someone come up and tell me what it was that I was trying to get out, and that is that any person can file what is called an amicus brief, and it is submitted as a friend of the court, and all it is a very simple, in fact, the simpler the better, a letter to the judge that includes the words, "For the record, I, Joe Blow, am standing with the Hammonds in the filing of this habeas corpus," and that's it, and send it to the judge. But it's called an amicus, A-M-I-C-U-S brief, and just include the words "for the record," submitted as a friend of the court, and anyone can do that. We're on a short leash with this, with only a couple of days till Tuesday, but it can't hurt to add your name to it. Believe me, I'll be doing it as soon as I get home.
Let me just add something to that. For writ habeas corpus, if you write that habeas corpus demanding that the federal government show the body of evidence that they have jurisdiction to prosecute a state citizen, the Hammonds, they can't bring that body of evidence. That's what the habeas corpus is. Bring me the body. Bring me the body of the crime.
What if they do the same thing with the writ of habeas corpus that they did with the redress of grievances?
Well, that's what they do. Now, according to the rule of due process in common law, okay, that if you demand proof from a plaintiff and they refuse that information, they lose by default. Now, the only thing that gives them the upper hand is that they have guns and that they get paid. They can sit back and get paid and just hold off. And the people have to go out of their way with money out of their pocket to keep going. But if you stick to the rules of due process and common law, I want everybody to write this down. Go onto the internet and bring up Beauvair's Law Dictionary. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. It's Beauvair's Law Dictionary, B-O-U-V-I-E-R-S. Beauvair's Law Dictionary, 1856 edition. You pull it up for free, and you can download it into your Word program. Luckily, John Beauvair, who wrote that dictionary, and it was the dictionary of the Supreme Court in 1856, put all of the maxims of law under maxims, and there's about 50 or 60 pages of maxims of law. If you don't understand maxims of law, you don't understand when they're violating maxims of law. If you don't understand what your rights are, You have no idea when they're violating it. And you have no idea what to do about it if you don't understand fundamental due process. Well, another very important aspect of fundamental due process is sworn testimony. Unrebutted sworn testimony is to be considered a fact in a court of law until it is rebutted under oath. That is a rule of law. And so I can't overstress the importance of everybody just start reading if you read all of the maxims of law, put it into your work program. When you don't understand the maxim of law, highlight it. And go through the whole thing. Then come back and read them again until you understand them all.
That's great, great suggestion, great information, but in a practical sense, if we wanted to file an amicus brief in favor of the Hammonds, what is your suggestion as far as how do we write that out, how do we address it, and is there a time limit in response that comes back from the common law grand jury?
Normally, 30 days is a common, I don't know exactly what the rules are, but normally 30 days is what it is. What you want to be asking is, and demanding is, for the federal government to show their express written authority to be able to prosecute a state citizen in the state that they reside. It doesn't exist. In other words, if you demand that and they don't show it, guess what? They lose by default. But they still got control over law enforcement and the guns. But you still win lawfully.
But didn't that state citizen being the Hammonds, didn't they voluntarily step into the federal court?
Yes, let me tell you how that happens, okay? This is the rules of common law. If somebody's accusing you of something, and you say nothing, oh, well, let me rephrase that. Federal government comes in and says, we're going to prosecute you. If he doesn't challenge jurisdiction according to common law, he volunteered into their jurisdiction. But he volunteered through fraud. It wasn't a lawful agreement and contract because he didn't have full disclosure. He did it under intimidation and coercion. So it wasn't a lawful agreement. So he still has standing to come back.
So wouldn't we need to word our amicus brief to that effect, saying, was Mr. Hammond and his son, were they both given full disclosure of their rights?
Now you're getting it.
Is that the way we need to word it? Were the Hammonds given full disclosure of the rights that they would be forfeiting before they stepped into your federal court?
Without being under duress.
Is that what we're
Yeah, because that's where the fraud comes in. In other words, when a cop pulls you over for a traffic ticket and you didn't create any damage, you didn't create any damage, a nuisance, or a danger to the public, and he says, if you don't sign this, I'm going to take you to jail. Well, after that, especially if you can prove it with a video, anything that you write out there is not your signature. It's not your lawful signature because it put you under duress and coercion. So you can send the ticket back and say, look, your officer threatened me if I didn't write my name. All it is my name on there. It's not my signature. Just study the lawful contracts and agreements.
Well, with the limited time we have for anybody who wants to, and I would like to be one of those people that submits an amicus brief to attach to Mr. Good's habeas corpus writ, I would like to attach my own amicus brief, and I would like to word it because words are everything in the law. I would like to word it specifically. So one more time, can we go over that so it sinks into our heads?
Okay, I'll go over the main issues. Double jeopardy. It's unconstitutional. The BLM doesn't have any authority to operate in the states. That's another constitutional violation. They didn't have any rights to prosecute a state citizen because they don't have any rights outside of D.C. or their forts and all that. And those are the main issues right there. Just ask it. Where is your written authority? Everything in government has to be written down, or it is not not valid. It doesn't exist if it doesn't exist on paper. So if they can't prove, and their proof can't be, in other words, if they say, oh, well, it's a statute. Okay, let's subpoena the person who wrote the statute and voted on the statute and see if they have authority over the Hammond's rights. No, they don't. It doesn't exist. It all exists out of your tacit consent by you not challenging authority. That's what it's all about. You have to challenge authority. What? Acquiesce? You acquiesce to their... Listen. Okay. I can send, I wrote it down on my, and emailed it to several people. I can email it to anybody and have all that information on there. I can email it to you and you can transfer it out to whoever has it. And in a closing note, everything that you write into the court and everything that you demand makes a difference. Whether or not the king says you can't do it or not, and whether the king doesn't listen to you, you still did the lawful process according to fundamental due process and the rule of law.
I just wanted to add a short note to what he just said. Every time I go to the computer, and I have a copy, I have the maxims of law copied down. I download and I copy and I put it in binders because you don't know when the internet just might not exist and you want that information.
Okay. So, Hammond's not coming. So, there you have it. He told BJ he would come, you guys are all here, he's not coming out. So, take that for what it's worth. We'll still continue to do what we do to intervene and stop that on behalf of this community. I'm going to go meet with the deputies, talk to them face to face, so they understand that the good people in this community and us support that. But hold on a sec. Before you guys take off, those of you that want to get involved with the organization and the safety committee, if we can meet right back there at the counter, let's get that done. Please do.
Gentlemen, we're going to try to make contact with the guys that are over there. And if we can, I just want to make sure to clarify something. Someone took me out of context when they said that I wanted to kidnap somebody. I said, no, I wanted to put him in the corner and hold him there so that I could speak with him, talk him out of it, and then he's free to go. I don't do kidnapping. Okay, so that man doesn't speak for me if he's still here. I speak for myself. I'm Pete Antilli, and I got a big microphone.
And you guys, thank you for allowing us to come into your community. Thank you very much.